Hi, this is Andrea again, and a few days ago I got a question from a YouTube viewer that I wanted to answer in a video, and I'll just go ahead and read the question to you. Here's the question. Can you explain how to stop looking at our outside circumstances and stay focused on our vision? I am very good at keeping and maintaining a high vibration, but I admit that the last 2 days felt lower because of sometimes looking too much at the circumstances. And I think this is such a great question. And so today I want to answer it in a way that is hopefully very helpful to you. Okay, so here's something that's really helpful to understand is that if you have a new vision for yourself, something you've never had, something you've never experienced before, there are going to be circumstances that don't really seem to jive with that vision. Why? Because you need to shift in order to get to the vision. You may often see that there is a lot of evidence in your reality that tells you why you can't have what you want, why it isn't going to happen for you. Why? Because you've been living in a reality up until this point where that just wasn't a possibility. So let me give you an example. Something that you may or may not have heard of from me before is that I used to be a smoker. I smoked about 1.5 packs of cigarettes a day, and I went through a series of attempts at quitting smoking. And so this was a dynamic that I saw play out several times until I finally quit with success. Here's the dynamic. I'd go to quit smoking, all right? And I'd tell people about it. And I'd be doing okay, but then a friend or somebody that I usually smoked with would show up and would tell me, hey, let's go outside and smoke. Or, hey, did you still try to quit smoking? Come on, that's not gonna last. And they'd tell me all the reasons why it wasn't gonna work out for me. And so I would have friends or coworkers who would be trying to pull me outside, trying to get me to smoke. And that was an example of a circumstance that made it feel really hard for me to actually quit smoking. And to be honest, that's a really great reason as to why I fell back into smoking on a number of occasions, because I just kind of fell back in with what my surroundings were telling me. You're not going to quit. You're always going to be a smoker. So I just kind of fell back into it. These things happen all the time where we have a vision for ourselves, but reality just tells us and reminds us why we can't have it. And so learning how to deal with those outside circumstances is really critical, because if you want to stay harnessed on your vision, you have to find a way to cope with the fact that reality is going to be telling you otherwise. So here's what I suggest. Instead of trying to ignore the circumstances, I would try to go about it in a different way. Ignoring the circumstances is going to be very challenging because they're going to be coming at you, and there's a reason why they're coming at you. And just telling yourself, I can't look at this, I can't look at this, causes you to feel like you have to dodge what's really a very important transformational piece of the work, which is not dodging it, it's shifting those circumstances. So instead of trying to ignore the negative circumstances or the things that are telling you that you can't have your dream, an easier way to go about it is to switch the definition that you put on the circumstances. For example, if I was quitting smoking and a friend came up and told me how she didn't think I was going to be able to keep up with it, or I should just go out and smoke with her, the ordinary thing that I would think is, yeah, it's not going to work out. Oh, the pressure's too great. Oh, she's trying to drag me off my goal. And I would automatically go negative and play right back into that circumstance. But I could shift how I was looking at that friend and create a more positive definition of what was going on. And this was something that I did when I quit smoking that was very useful, and it's something that you can do with any kind of negative circumstance. It's just simply shift the definition. So in the example of the smoking, one of the things that I started to tell myself is, the reason why my friend is saying this to me is because she too actually wants to quit. She feels just as chained by it as I do, and that's why she's reaching to me to hold me into it, because she feels so locked into it. If I can quit, I can show her that she can quit, and I can unchain both of us, rather than she's pulling me in and pulling me down. And so please keep this in mind. If you're shifting, if you're trying to get a new vision, your reality is going to throw in a lot of circumstances that make it feel like you can't have it because it's something that up until this point you haven't yet had. So it's important not to ignore those circumstances, but rather to create new definitions for those circumstances, that they're there to serve you, that they're there in a positive way. And if you can do that, when you do that, you'll shift all those circumstances to working in your favor. And now all of a sudden, there's nothing between you and your vision.